We'll take a look at this data from the Dayton YWCA. 1 in 5 women and 1 in 6 men will be a victim of sexual violence in their lifetime. Unfortunately, organizers say that number may actually be low due to unreported instances.
And the YWCA encouraging survivors to cope through art. The organization hosted its first ever art show for survivors tonight. Gwyneth Falloon is live right now. And Gwen, so how does this show benefit the survivors?
Well, Elise, the name of the show is Art That Empowers, and that's really the overall goal, to empower those survivors. Organizers tell me often when someone is assaulted and victimized, their voice is stripped away from them, and art and creativity are a way for them to get that back.
Sometimes it's really hard to speak about what happened, but also survivors are incredibly creative people. So it's easier sometimes to draw or to paint, or for some people who are poets to get that out in poetry or in live performance. So it was really about what makes their voice special and how we could center their voice.
So Gwen, I know that you actually spoke with a few survivors. What are they saying about the event and how it makes them feel?
Yeah, at least I spoke with 3 survivors, and all of them tell me that by creating a piece of artwork, they were able to express their feelings, but also through the show and through the YWCA, they were able to meet other survivors and have someone that can relate to the experiences they went to. If you would like to hear from any of them, you can visit our website. That's Dayton247now.com. Back to you.
Gwen, thank you. And the man accused of killing 2 people in Darke County is now facing aggravated murder and robbery charges. This man right here, 39-year-old Adam Uchin, is accused of killing Michelle Phipps and James Donnelly earlier this month. Uchin was arrested in Chicago on a felony probation violation warrant. We will continue to follow this story for you, and as soon as we learn more, we'll update you right here on our air, but also at Dayton247now.com.
At Butler Township Police, they're still searching for the guy who was shot inside of a Miller Lane restaurant. Now, this happened at the Smash Burger around 5:30 Sunday night. Police say that shooting took place after an argument broke out between this man and an employee there. That's when the employee fired a shot at him. Now, no one was hurt. That employee was arrested. The case remains under investigation.
The city of Richmond will be answering any questions and concerns regarding that Richmond industrial fire. A live community helpline is being held tomorrow. Now, you may remember the fire broke out 2 weeks ago today. The fire shown right here, so large that this black smoke, this thick black smoke, could be seen here in Dayton. Tomorrow's event gives residents the chance to ask questions about any health-related issues and even more. A class action lawsuit has been filed against the owner of the plant, alleging he failed to maintain the facility and its hazardous contents.
Investigation still underway after a fire left at least 1 person dead in Middletown. A 911 call came in for that fire around 5:45 this morning. When help got there, a garage was fully engulfed, and firefighters had to work quickly to knock that fire down because of just how close the homes in that neighborhood are. It had a high chance of spreading. Neighbors described what they saw.
Somebody was beating on my door. My dogs went crazy, and I got up, and when I got up, I seen a big bright orange light, and I thought my house was on fire. And I took off and looked at the other bedrooms, and then come out here and looked, and the guy said the house is on fire next door.
Now, again, the cause is still under investigation.
A historic mansion in Dayton destroyed in a fire. This happening just weeks before the Traxler mansion was supposed to be up for auction. Mamie Baugh spent the day digging through the property records and shares what she learned.
The mansion was built in 1911. The Dayton Fire Department says it's likely a total loss after the fire this weekend. The windows shattered, the roof non-existent. Now caution tape surrounds the Traxler mansion. The Dayton Fire Department says it's likely a total loss. According to these property records, the current owners, William and Doris Moore, acquired it in 1990. They started falling behind on their property taxes in 2002. Owing close to $40,000 now. In 2022, foreclosure followed. Are you concerned that it might not be picked up next week when it goes up for auction because of the fire?
It is my hope that somebody will pick it up and that those interested parties in the community continue to work hard to make sure that the Traxler Mansion has a bright future, obviously a different future, but a future nonetheless.
Now, the property has been vacant for a while. We do know that utilities were not on at the time. Now, the Dayton Fire Department is investigating this fire. Now, it's unclear whether this property has insurance, but we do know that the owners do have a mortgage. And according to Ohio law, if you have a mortgage, insurance is a requirement. Now, I did reach out to the attorney who represents the family who owns this home, but I did not hear back. Back to you.
Mamie, thanks. All right, so to weather now, and we are in a little bit, I guess, in my opinion, a funk. We're not in those warm temperatures anymore. We're back to that, the frost freeze alerts.
Yeah, a cold one tonight and not necessarily the warmest of days tomorrow either, but we will eventually get out of this little funk that we're in. We do have a freeze warning in effect for most of the area. That's what you see in dark purple. This is from midnight until 9 a.m. A frost advisory for our southwestern counties. And that's also from midnight until 9 a.m. So do protect those plants. We already have temperatures that are beginning to fall across the area. Taking a look at temperatures across the board right now in the 30s, down to 40 in Dayton, 32 already in Richmond. We're sitting at 34 in Urbana, close to freezing in Xenia at 33. And we'll continue to see those temperatures fall with a clear sky across the area. So kids heading out to the bus stop will wake up to 30s. Clouds will quickly build into the region and then eventually a few showers. So you may want to bring that umbrella with you during the day tomorrow, as spotty shower or two will be expected by around lunchtime.
Montgomery County officials and Governor Mike DeWine celebrating the opening of the county's new crisis receiving center. Now, the new center will be used to deliver 24/7 behavioral health emergency services to the public. It's also a resource for local officers when they need to help someone facing a mental health crisis.
The difference today is we have never dealt with such a physically ill, addicted, and mentally ill population that we are dealing with today. Even though our numbers are much lower than they used to be, our challenges are 3 times higher. And a lot of it has to do with what is going on with our mental health crisis.
Now, the center allows adults 18 and up to receive any kind of care for behavioral issues they need help with. They accept first responder drop-offs as well as walk-ins and community agency referrals.
Starting tonight, Montgomery County officials, they're setting out this week to acknowledge the victims of crimes. This is all part of National Crime Victims' Rights Week. As part of that observance, communities are called to help amplify the voices of survivors, create environments where they can be heard, believed, and supported. Montgomery County Prosecutor Matt Heck says this year's theme is to elevate, engage, and affect change.
Recently, there's been many positive changes to the Ohio law to ensure victims of crime not only know their rights, but ensure that those rights are in fact upheld and respected.
Now, Heck is highlighting the rights that many of those victims have. That includes rights to their privacy, protection, and legal representation.
U.S. Senator J.D. Vance met with the intelligence community at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. While there, he said he heard about the country's shortcomings in the technology race against China. His meeting comes right after Congressman Mike Turner and members of the Intelligence Committee visited the base. He says he's grateful now more than ever of the work Wright-Pat's doing in southern Ohio.
My view here is that we have an incredibly important asset economically for the Dayton region, but most importantly, an incredible amount of security personnel here who are making sure that we stay ahead of the next conflict to come. And that's the most important thing.
Senator Vance also gave an update on the Railway Safety Act. That's the bipartisan bill he's working on with Senator Sherrod Brown. This was in response, of course, to that East Palestine train derailment from weeks ago. He says the bill is moving forward quickly and is hoping to have a vote in the Senate by the summer.
We're following developing news out of Middletown now. That's where the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation is looking into a shooting by a police officer. Lydia Bice live at the Now Desk. Where exactly did this happen, Lydia?
Well, police say it happened on Monday evening at a residence on Park Lane off of North University Boulevard. Officials say the shooting came after a SWAT standoff. A suspect was taken to the hospital and is in stable condition.
Now, were any officers injured out of this?
No officers were injured. Now, the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation is handling the case, and authorities have not released any additional information on the suspect or what else led up to the shooting. Back to you.
Lydia, thank you. Tonight, two major networks parting ways with a longtime host. Anchor Don Lemon is out at CNN, and on his Twitter account earlier, Lemon said he was stunned to find out from his agent. It comes a little more than 2 months after he apologized to viewers for his on-air comments about Republican presidential candidate Nikki Haley. CNN did not publicly give a reason for Lemon's departure. Meanwhile, Fox News also making an announcement today. They're parting ways with Tucker Carlson, effective immediately. Carlson's last program was on Friday. No reason for the sudden split was given. Fox News says Carlson's time slot will be filled with an interim show hosted by rotating personalities until a new host is named.
Surveillance video from an elementary school in Elyria shows a principal sprayed with mace by a mom. Now, according to the school, 27-year-old Jessica Howes attempted to enter the school through a non-authorized door and was swearing and using aggressive body language with the principal. She claimed she was upset about alleged bullying of her son. She then took out mace from her pocket, you see there, and sprayed the principal. Now Howes is facing multiple charges, and she says since Tuesday the school has addressed the son's bullying situation, and while she apologizes for her actions, she does not regret them.
Pepper spraying him, no, I don't regret it because I talked to him multiple times. I talked to multiple people at that school to try to, get heard for my child. And nothing ever, gets done.
Now, the school was placed in a modified lockdown during the whole thing, which was lifted later that morning. Howes is facing 2 felony assault charges and a charge of criminal trespassing.
The Dayton unit of the NAACP hosting a town hall tonight regarding young people being disorderly in public places. The event was held at the Grace United Methodist Church. Leaders say that there's a history when it comes to young people causing issues around the Miami Valley. Now, some of the situations are starting to create anxiety for residents around Dayton.
We understand that some people down there are selling drugs. We understand that some young people are carrying guns. So, this kind of behavior just cannot be tolerated within our community.
Leaders say they hope that through this discussion that people will become energized to become a part of the solution to the problems in the community.
The amount of ticks rapidly increasing across the state. A closer look at what's causing that explosion.
And a live look from the Capitol building tonight as Congressman Jim Jordan announces another subpoena, who he wants to hear from and why.
Plus a cold one for tonight. I'll let you know how long this cold sticks around coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Ticks, they're rapidly expanding in the state, posing a growing concern for public health and your four-legged friend. Brad Underwood has a look at some of the factors playing a role in that expansion.
Ticks are everywhere, and there really isn't a season anymore. Tim McDermott with the Ohio University Extension Office in Franklin County says the blood-sucking parasites are now a year-round problem.
Movement of wildlife, there's reforestation, there's wildlife coming right up close to where people are in urban environments. There is expansion of ticks due to global climate change. There is the introduction of a true invasive tick.
Some veterinarians are also recommending year-round treatment for pets. In Cincinnati, I'm Brad Underwood. Back to you.
Well, mostly clear skies across the Miami Valley, helping temperatures really fall. It was cloudy for most of the day, but now we're starting to see those clearer skies, which again will help those temperatures drop as we look into the overnight hours. We do have a storm system just off to our west. We're going to monitor this. This is going to send Cloud cover and eventually some showers into the area tomorrow, but for tonight, it will be quiet and it's going to be cold. Protect those plants tonight. Most of us under a freeze warning. Lows are going to be dropping into the lower 30s, but notice by 7 a.m. cloud cover already starts to make its way in. And then by the late morning, we're tracking some showers, mainly north of I-70, but an isolated shower possible throughout the day. We'll continue with those small rain chances into the evening, but we clear out. Wednesday's looking pretty good. We start out in the 30s, but we get up into the upper 50s by our Wednesday afternoon.
Live pictures tonight from the Capitol building as the head of the House Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan, is subpoenaing an FBI official. Representative Jordan wants Jennifer Lee Moore to go before the Select Subcommittee to answer questions on the so-called weaponization of the federal government. Moore is the Executive Assistant Director of Human Resources at the FBI. Jordan says his fellow Republicans have heard from whistleblowers who disclose that the FBI is attempting to, quote, purge employees with conservative views. The FBI responded with a statement saying, in part, the Bureau remains fully committed to cooperating with Congress. President Biden is now meeting with the 3 Tennessee lawmakers, Democratic State Representatives Justin Jones, Justin Pearson, and Gloria Johnson, which you see here in this video, who all faced expulsion. Republican lawmakers say that they broke House rules when they participated in a gun control protest inside the chamber. The protest followed the deadly March 27th shooting at an elementary school in Nashville.
It's just tragic to see what's happening in your state in particular, in your city, but also across the country. And, nothing's guaranteed about democracy. Every generation has to fight for it, and you all are doing just that.
Representatives Pearson and Jones were expelled, but have since been reinstated temporarily. Representative Gloria Johnson also took part in the protest, but survived a move to expel her by just 1 vote. And the White House now honoring our nation's top teachers. High school math teacher Rebecca Peterson is the 2023 National Teacher of the Year. Peterson teaches in Tulsa, Oklahoma. She says she's passionate about making math engaging and accessible to all students, no matter their background. President Biden and First Lady Jill Biden congratulated all of those recognized this year.
Jill reminds me all the time that teaching is not just what you do, it's who you are. It's who you are. So I want to stand by saying to every teacher here today and every teacher across the country, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I mean it.
As the 2023 National Teacher of the Year, Peterson will spend a year serving as an ambassador for education.
All right, here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam over Beaver Creek tonight. Natalie, I got to say, I think it's gotten a lot colder in just the last 45 minutes since we were out here at 10 o'clock.
It really has dropped significantly from just an hour ago, and it's going to continue to be a pretty cold night across the area.
Starting to see our breath again.
Yeah, that will be the case overnight into the day tomorrow. As far as what we're looking at next several days, we do warm up. So for tonight, sub-freezing temperatures do protect those plants, but we get into the mid-50s tomorrow with a few showers. We do climb mid-60s by Saturday, but we also have some showers that we're going to be tracking, some rain by later this week especially. So even with milder air, that also comes with some rain. And our overall temperature trend, I hate giving forecasts like this because I just wish I had some better weather to bring. It is going to be cooler than normal as we head into next week, below normal temperatures, even as we start out the month of May. So we'll have a look at that 7-day coming up here in just a bit.
Bud Light's executives stepping away from the company. This after the beer maker teamed up with a transgender influencer ahead. The latest, we're now learning about the decision. And thousands of complaints filed with the CDC over side effects from the COVID-19 vaccine. Ahead, what people are alleging the vaccine caused. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Bud Light's vice president of marketing is taking a leave of absence amid boycotts from some angry customers. That's according to reports from Beer Business Daily and Ad Age. Some Bud Light customers, they're switching their allegiances after the beer's marketing team struck up a partnership with a transgender influencer. That drew criticism from some. Bud Light's parent company, Anheuser-Busch, released a statement saying it partners with the influencers to connect with audiences across various demographics.
Tonight, the U.S. is helping to evacuate U.S. citizens who want to leave war-torn Sudan. About 16,000 U.S. citizens are registered with the embassy as being in Sudan. White House National Security Advisor says the U.S. has placed assets over evacuation routes to make sure everyone gets out safely.
We have started to see a more regular pattern of convoys begin to arrive, including convoys that have Americans in them. Once at the port, then we are using diplomatic facilities in neighboring countries to help those Americans with their onward travel so that they can get safely out of the country.
Sullivan notes there have not been any U.S. troops on the ground in Sudan other than to briefly evacuate embassy personnel.
Well, another poll is saying that most Americans oppose a ban on abortion medication. That's according to NPR PBS NewsHour Mercer poll. 64% oppose a ban versus 35% who support one. Now, that comes after a federal judge overturned the FDA's approval of such drugs, and as the U.S. Supreme Court left access in place as it weighs the whole thing. Now, 73% of Democrats oppose the ban. A majority, 55% of Republicans, also oppose it.
We're learning tonight thousands are now saying they have tinnitus after getting the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, tinnitus is that phantom ringing or noise in a person's ear. More than 16,000 people filed complaints with the CDC so far. The CDC is now saying, though, an internal review did not find a link between tinnitus and the COVID vaccine.
Well, some of the biggest names in college football just days away from hearing their names called in the NFL draft. We hear from one of OSU's star players ahead of the biggest day of his football career.
And an important announcement for Flyers fans tonight with the team captain announced over social media about his future plans. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.